Inside Edition will not be seen tonight, so that we may bring you the following News Channel 3 special.
Good morning, Deer Valley Tower. Helicopter TV3 is Ram 3 with information hotel northbound departure, please. Helicopter TV3, Deer Valley Tower, cleared for takeoff, northbound. Runway 7 right, cleared for takeoff. Traffic, 2 helicopters holding at Sky High Pioneer 4 miles east southeast of Deer Valley. For you in the front, Delta. That's unbelievable, isn't it?
Arizona by Air, an Arizona USA special. Brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield, serving Arizona for 50 years. By Exxon Gasolines, precision equipment for precision engines. And by your local Pepsi-Cola bottler, a generation ahead. Here's News Channel 3's Royal Norman.
Hello and welcome to Arizona by Air. You know, one of the great aspects of working for a modern TV station is this bird next to me, the turbine helicopter. It has a top speed of more than 150 miles an hour, and that means that even the far corners of our state are never far away. Mainly, we use the helicopter for spot news. You'll see us reporting on fires, chases, searches, and rescues. But recently, they gave us the keys and told us to have a little bit of fun. We did, and this show is the result. Coming up next, our first 2 stops, Lake Powell and Monument Valley, as Arizona by Air continues. Welcome back to our special presentation, Arizona by Air. Northern Arizona is famous for its beautiful scenery, including Lake Powell and Monument Valley. So early one morning at the Page Airport, we met up with the folks from Lake Powell Air.
People get excited with this. They're very emotionally charged when they come out here and they get on the airplane. First of all, they're a little bit apprehensive because they've never done anything like this before.
So you want to see Lake Powell from the air? You can take one of the many fixed-wing tour flights offered at the Page Airport, but be ready for a pleasant surprise. The flight is almost guaranteed to take you beyond your expectations.
Most of the people that come in here are very typical tourists, if we can use that kind of a phrase. But this is probably the most exciting thing that many of them have ever done in their life. They don't really know what to expect when they come to get on board with us, but we get to share an hour and a half or 2 hours of a very unique experience in their life, and that's fun.
What you were looking at there on our left side is No Man's Mesa.
Through special headsets, the pilots make sure the passengers don't miss a thing. Like this sight. Usually you have to look up, but now in an airplane you can look down at Rainbow Bridge.
I think you see so much more from the air. You get the real vista of it.
The colors are just lovely, they're so unexpected.
Absolutely breathtaking. It was something you have to see to believe.
As for the pilots, you might think the daily trips could get old. Not so. They say they see something new on every flight. The highlight for them? They say it's the passengers.
They're used to the city life, the concrete buildings and the pavement. They get out here and see these 1,000-foot Majesty monuments. We did have one unique experience with a lady as we were flying over the Lake Powell. And she wanted to know what kind of fish those were. And I had to tell her, ma'am, those aren't fish, those are houseboats. Of course, she's also the same lady that wanted to know why the government spent so much money building these monuments out here.
These are the monuments in Monument Valley, of course. Right after you've been dazzled with the beauty of Lake Powell, there's more to your trip. Nature's grand statues in stone. Beautiful in any language.
Data da molti secoli. Più di 3000 anni fa, bande nomadi di indiani preistorici chiamati gli arcaici del deserto cominciarono ad occupare.
It changes colors with the different times of the day, the different seasons, and it still holds an immense wonder for me. I'm awestruck by it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're beginning our final approach into Monument Valley. We ask that you check your seatbelts, make sure that they are.
The tour group leaves for a bus trip through Monument Valley. Meantime, our adventure continues, a special return trip over Lake Powell in Newschopper 3. Our guest passenger, Captain Bob Armstrong. He's been flying tour groups by plane over the lake for years, but has never seen it in a helicopter.
I've done it fixed wing low, but not quite this low. Okay. This was pretty country before the lake, but as far as I'm concerned, this was the greatest thing that ever happened. It's the prettiest lake I've ever seen. It's got to be the prettiest in the United States, I believe. Part about it, each time of the day the sun's in different positions, it's a complete different place. Oh, it's unreal. You think you've seen it all, but every time there's something that you missed. That's the enormity and the vastness of it.
Yeah, it's pretty hard for me to sit here and think of this as being work.
Always wanted to go in this canyon here.
Yeah, every turn is more impressive than the last, isn't it?
You can ride it, you can hike it, but the only way to really see it is by air.
With the 640 horsepower this helicopter develops, you might think that it's hard to control, but that's not the case. It takes a delicate touch to fly a helicopter. As a matter of fact, the controls in Newschopper 3 are more sensitive than those in traditional fixed-wing aircraft. Well, coming up next as Arizona by Air continues a trip to the grandest canyons of them all. For many, the Grand Canyon represents the best that nature has to offer. Most people see it from the rim, some venture a hike inside, or maybe even ride a burro to the bottom. Still others will raft along the Colorado River deep within the canyon. Well, these days, an increasing number of people are taking to the air to see this natural wonder. Grand Canyon Helicopters has flown thousands of people into the canyon since 1965. People from all over the world pay from between $75 and $150 to be whisked along the canyon walls.
Canyon Tower, Copter 7 is switched tower.
Chief Pilot Rick Carrick was our guide. As we departed Tucson, the excitement level among the passengers grew. Suddenly, the forest gave way to the sheer canyon below, a sight to behold.
Copter 1, Copter 7, I'll be pulling up on your right side here about 9 o'clock or so.
Pilot Carrick says this is the best way to see the canyon.
Most people that fly the canyon, they absolutely love it. For many people, it's the first time they've flown, and what a way to cram two great experiences together like that. It's the first time up in the air, and then to see something this magnificent as the Grand Canyon. Virtually everyone that does it absolutely loves it.
Present rules forbid low-level flights into the canyon, but in the spring of 1987, before the new rules went into effect, the crew of Newschopper 3 captured the beauty of this place close up. No such restrictions exist in the nearby Little Colorado River Canyon, and Newschopper 3 pilot Jerry Clifton couldn't resist.
Yeah, you just can't describe it. You're low level, and then all of a sudden, the vastness of the thing and the expanse and the depth, your stomach just goes up in your throat. Is the canyon walls are about 1,000 foot above us there. It's there's no way to describe it. You know, you just have to be here to see it, to feel it. You can see it on tape or you can talk about it, but you can't feel it. In all the flying I've done, I have never ever done anything as totally awesome as this. I've flown over this thing 100 times and always wanted to do this. I've flown down in the Grand Canyon before, but this is much, much more magnificent than the Grand Canyon. Not in sheer size, but in just its beauty. Utterly fantastic.
The tight confines of the Little Colorado Canyon are in sharp contrast to the openness of Sedona, though the geology is similar. And do you think we found someone to show us around the famous red rocks? Of course we did.
Sedona area traffic helicopter 14854 is on the west side of the Mesa, be westbound.
Okay, I'm going to be turning a little bit to the right here, then we're going to turn left into this canyon.
Pilot Don Parrish has been flying for more than 20 years. In 1987, he began flying almost exclusively around the Sedona area.
It's a really pleasant experience to bring people out here and see them turned on to what they're seeing.
what I want to do for the people that come and fly with me is I want to put them into the best position that I can to show the beauty of the area. It is an exciting helicopter ride, but it's not a carnival ride. I don't want to go out and do anything that would make them apprehensive. I want them to really kind to forget about the helicopter just a little bit, concentrate on the beauty of the area.
Don calls his trips Arizona Helicopter Adventures, and he stresses the word adventure.
It gives us a chance to even by air, to slow down and smell the roses just a little bit. It's quite an advantage.
And like other helicopter pilots we know, Don likes to show off Sedona's hard-to-get-to places.
There's going to be an Indian ruin that's going to be right out my left-hand side right here.
So you're suspended. You feel like you're suspended amidst the rocks, and it's just glorious.
And most of Don's passengers get right into the swing of things.
It's spiritual. I mean, it really is just extraordinary to be so close, and it's just beautiful.
But most of all, it's fun.
It's just one of those dirty little jobs, but somebody has to do it. It is a tremendous thrill. I enjoy the people. I'd have to acknowledge there's a sameness to maybe flying and doing the same tours. I always see something a little bit different every time. It's the people that make the real difference. It's nice to see people go away happy. So far, we've been showing you nature's handiwork. But coming up next, as Arizona by Air continues, we're going to take you to a mystery in the desert, the giant intaglios along the Colorado River. About 2,000 years ago, the Mojave and Kashan Indians lived along the Colorado River. During that time, they built hundreds of giant intaglios on the desert floor. These geoglyphs, as they are also known, were rediscovered earlier this century, and we are just beginning to understand their meaning.
Some of the figures were aesthetically pleasing, but most of them are really not. They're not really a Rembrandt in Indian style at all. They're just practical things. And I really didn't come to appreciate them until I learned what they meant. The stories and the legends and the associations with them, then they begin to mean something. Some up in the Bullhead City area, and then they extend all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico. But we have heard rumors that there's some in the area of the Lake Mojave, or they were before they flooded the lake, filling the lake with behind the dam. These intaglios here in this area, particularly the ones, the human and the animal figures, are probably around 2,000 years old, maybe a little less. Their purpose is relating to the creator god Mastamho, who formed this river valley according to Indian legends and all the people and things that are here, so that they were able to have their place for livelihood.
Boma Johnson of the Bureau of Land Management suspects that the geoglyphs were messages to the gods. Possibly they were an attempt by the artists to somehow show worthiness. All of the figures seem to be telling a story.
The large human figures in this area are images of Mastamho. He's the creator god, the son of Quicamat, the father god. And in the creation story in this area in particular, here at this group of intaglios, there are two animal figures. They're mountain lions, and they are figures which appear in the creation story. They symbolize, at least these figures in this area, symbolize the Indian expression of their connection with the heavens and the people in the heavens, their origin and their destiny. And I guess you can't get any more serious than that.
Johnson says the intaglios were also stopping points on religious treks to Spirit Mountain, near what is now present-day Bullhead City. Along the way, the most important place to stop was the Black Point Dance Circle. It's now crisscrossed by power lines.
It was kind of the midway point between Yuma and the Spirit Mountain. And there they would stop and prepare themselves to go on to the last one. There's a cross trail that crosses the circle, which is called the Milky Way Trail. And then in the center, there's a circle, and that is the circle of this solar system. And in order to arrive at this Earth, you have to go around the universe, across the Milky Way path, and then arrive at this Earth. And there you experience certain things, and then later, as your experience here is finished, you go back through the Milky Way and go back into the universe.
It's all one continuous circle.
Yes.
Johnson tells us that the Indians were also very aware that evil, in the form of Mustambo's sinister brother, was never far away.
Quahue is always has some part of his body missing. Sometimes his head is missing, sometimes an arm, sometimes both. Sometimes he will be deformed in another way, but he's always less than human.
But those who scratched out a living along this isolated desert river sought to be more than human, seeking guidance from their gods.
The Indian people in this region, well, generally in the Americas, have a real strong belief in a continuation of life, and so that they always saw the imagery of the Creator being as a way to communicate with the heavenly beings.
The desert geoglyphs are very fragile and they are protected by federal law. If you happen upon one, please don't disturb it. They are all an important part of southwestern history. Well, by no means have we seen everything there is to see around Arizona from the air. For every place we feature, there are probably at least a dozen others we could have shown you. Who knows? Maybe they'll give us the keys again sometime.
This Arizona USA special was brought to you by Pep Boys, America's Automotive Super Center, and by Security Pacific Bank Arizona. We want to be your bank for life.